Today I'm going to show you how I make my right angle tension tools for lever locks. Like for the Squire 770. Let's go in like this, turn over to tension the lock. I'll go over what hardware you need and tools you need to make this. First thing you need is a steel rod, and the dimensions for this is 3/16 in diameter, and this one is 48 inches long. The length doesn't matter, whatever length you can get it in. And I don't remember exactly how much this costs, between $6 and $8 perhaps for this rod. And you can make a lot of tension tools with this rod. I take the rod and for this particular one, cut it to about 6 inches long total. Added dimensions here and here, and that's about 6 inches. Then I drill a hole to put a nail in, and on this end you can see the hole. I just drilled it on the wrong end, and this is the only tool that you may not have, and that's a drill press in order to drill through the metal. It's the only way you're going to be able to get it, unless you have a powerful hand drill and a jig that the drill fits on that you can use as a drill press. Okay. The tools you'll need for this will be a hacksaw. I believe I got this at the dollar store. It wasn't very expensive. You'll need a good pair of pliers that will be able to cut nails. You'll need a hand file if you don't have a grinder or a Dremel tool. And you'll need some nails, depending upon the keyway that you're making the tension tool for. Now, after you cut the rod to size and you drill the hole about maybe 1/4 inch from the end of the tip here, you drill the hole slightly bigger, well, actually slightly smaller than the diameter of the nail. This one hole is a little bit too big for my nails, but basically what you're doing is you want to thread the nail through the hole like this, and cut it off about maybe 3/4 of an inch as a starting point. Now, here is a larger nail, and it won't go through, but this might work. And what you'll have to do to make it work is to file down or grind down about from here to the tip the diameter of this, so that it will go through about that far and stop. So there's you don't want to go too far. You want to be able to come to a dead stop, but you want it to be long enough where you can cut the tip of the nail off here and still have enough bit right there. Because what you want to do when you get it filed down and it does fit in there and stop, you will cut off maybe about 1/8 of an inch from the top here, and you'll put this, if you can, on a vise or a table somewhere. Hey Boo, how you doing? This is my video here. And you would tap a hammer, and you want to friction force it into the hole so it's real tight and it won't move. So it'll stay in there. But first you'll want, what I do is I put some super glue around the hole, and super glue around the nail before I pound it in, just to add more strength to it. Pound it in about that far, cut off the tip and cut off there right before I pound it in, then pound it in as far as I can, and then use, of course you have to use this to cut it flat, or if you want to file it, you can do it that way too. And so you'll have a tool that looks like that, which is this end right here. You can see the nail driven in there, and I had ground the nail narrow enough to fit through the hole except for the top up here, and I cut it off to the length I needed to fit inside the lock here. And the length of the tip is critical. You want it to be able to go through easily. You don't want it to be the exact depth of the keyway. You want to have a little bit of room, maybe a 32nd to a 16th of an inch. That's a little bit shorter than the depth of the keyway, so it'll fit in there nicely and be able to turn and get tension and not get caught up into the bolt. So once you get the nail in there, you'll want to bend your rod, because it's going to be straight like this when you're drilling the hole and putting the nail in. Now you need to bend the rod, which will need either 2 pair of strong pliers, or better yet, a vise and a hammer. And you want to put this into the vise down, and you want to just bend the rod over to a 90-degree angle, or hit it with a hammer to get it to a 90-degree angle, so that ends up looking like this. The next step you need to do is to file down the thickness of the rod. You can see how thick it is up here and gets thinner over here. If you have a grinder or a Dremel, it makes the work easier. If you don't, then you have to do it by hand. Oops. Like that, and get it down. Because what you need to do is, when this is inside the lock, it has to be, this flat end has to be flat enough so that you can get your wire into the keyway up here to get to the levers. So you have to file this. It's a trial and error thing. You probably have to go at least halfway down, maybe even a little bit more, in order to have the wire clear, so you can go inside the keyhole to get to the levers there. And that is basically how you make a right angle tension tool using a 3/16 steel rod and nails. So I hope that clears some things up. Also, the other turning tool, of course, is the one for pipes. And the easiest way of doing that is buying this is a 1/4 inch bolt and 1/4 inch square nuts, not the hexangle nuts, but square nuts. This is a hexangle nut right here on the corner. It's got 6 sides to it. Square nut only has 4 sides to it. And the only tool you need for this is a hacksaw blade and a file, and a duplicate key if you have one. If not, you can buy these at the locksmith shop. Bring your lock with you to make sure, let's see here, that the pipe, let me get the right light, lock that has a pipe in it. Yeah, you can see the pipe there, tip, that the key will fit over the pipe, so it will rotate. That's very critical. Then you take the key and you cut the key in half, like that. And you also have to file the key down about halfway so you can get the pick wire in there as well. And the key, you'll find if you're using a duplicate, it's going to have a lot of wording on it, and you're going to have to cut with the hacksaw blade down to, so you have maybe, this is about a 3/16 of an inch tip to it. So you have to file it down so you have that much left on the end of the key. And with this bolt, 1/4-inch bolt usually has a head on it. You can cut that off, and these are bolts that screw on there. These are called coupling bolts, and you want one with a 1/4-inch diameter to fit the 1/4-inch this thing. I can't remember what it is. So this fits on there like that. It's used basically as a handle. I'll put plumbing Teflon tape on it just to make it tight so it doesn't loosen up. You put your nuts on here. Now the nuts have a flat side and have a bevel side. You want two flat sides of the nut facing each other. And after you cut the key, you work the key in between the two nuts, tighten it down by hand. And you have to get a pair of pliers, probably 2 pair of pliers, to tighten it. And you want to make sure that when you tighten it, that the points of the nut are facing up. Because what that does, it makes a channel, as you can see here. And the pick wire will go through the channel here and hold the pick wire in one place as you put it toward there. And this is just a regular 1/4-inch hex nut I use to tighten down so that these nuts don't move after you tighten the key into it. And put another coupling bolt on this end. But you don't have to use coupling bolts. You can use other things on it. You can use larger nuts or acorn cap bolt heads, various different things, or nothing at all. It all depends upon how you want to feel it. It just let's see. These are little flaps on here. Real pain. There you go. You see it goes up here, and the wire goes in between here and into the lock there. But these are just used for gripping to make tension easier. So whatever you want to put on the ends of here will work just fine. That's basically how you make this tool. And like I said, the only thing you need is a file and a hacksaw blade to make this. This is probably the easiest of the tension tools to make. But they're very simple, and it doesn't require a lot of skill to do. And a whole lot cheaper than buying a set from UK or from HandyMac. And these work just as well. They're not as pretty, but they function and they do just fine. So I hope that helps you in your journey of lever picking, if you want to go into it, and how you can make simple tools with simple supplies. Any questions, put them in the comments. If you're not subscribed yet, please do. And please punch a like. I'd appreciate it. And I'll talk to you later.